Alright, finally, we're back with part 2 on the CHAQS playthrough. Alright, yeah, I meant to get to this last weekend, but so much stuff came up. Same thing with this weekend, but I finally got some time to sit down, so hopefully I have enough time to get through enough of these challenges. Alright, so we left off with geolocation. Alright, so these next two challenges are a bit weird. So, for this, the best thing to do with this challenge is just download everything. Alright. And I'm just going to move all of these. To the right folder, because OCD. Of course, you don't have to do this. This is just a cross that I bear. Don't think that's part of it. Alright. And I think it's... Is it export or extract? Extract. Alright. So yeah. What you'll do is basically just extract, and this is going to go to your desktop. It'll create a folder called CHAQS extract, and after that, really what you do is just go to Google Images, which you could try to do on here, just to show an example. Okay, good. Ah, here we go. Ah, the good old bus. And of course I'm shitty at these. Google Images, and if you go to the CHAQS extract folder, you can just drag the image onto Google Images, and it'll bring up a search result telling you, what it is. But for our purposes here, I'm just going to go ahead and go through each of these. Alright. So this first one here, the name of the art museum, that is the National Gallery of Canada. The second one here is the University of Liverpool. And if I could spell correctly, this might work. Again. Okay. This one is the Tokyo Tower. This is kind of near my neck of the woods here. And if you click the little helper here, it'll tell you it wants city and state. So this is Easton, Pennsylvania. And this last one here is the hardest one, because this doesn't exactly show you, when you take this into Google, it won't show you like the actual name of the square. You'll have to do some more digging and include the word square, and eventually you'll arrive at, what is this? Narinka Square. That's how you pronounce that. Okay. That one isn't too difficult. But this one, I don't think is any surprise. This is basically the DPS check of this entire game. This challenge is brutal. Dare say it's kind of the drizzling shits, but yeah. I battled internally whether to actually show this or not, because this is sort of a rite of passage if you can put your head down and get through this, but this is really difficult. So yeah, I ended up deciding, because originally I was going to start with challenge 14 and skip geolocation, skip regex, start with 14 and move on, but I think that would pretty much piss everyone off that ever watches this video, so I'd much rather people be stuck in the later challenges, because this game gets so much better after regex. So I'd much rather you get stuck on the later challenges than this one, so I'm going to go through these. And just like geolocation, I actually wrote all these down, because if I ever wanted to play this again, I never wanted to get stuck in the same hell I got stuck in the first time. So what I'm going to do is just submit these one at a time, and I'm just basically copying and pasting from a text file that I have outside the game. So that's task 1. The first couple are easy. This is task 2, and I'll just try to go through these a little slow, so that way if you want to pause or if you just want to go along. 1, 2, 3. And I can try to explain all of this. Most of you that have gotten stuck on this before, if you've tried to use outside tools, you could pretty much deduce what's going on here, but when you get into the more complicated stuff, yeah, it gets a little brutal. I can't tell you how much time I spent on this challenge, banging my head against the wall. Right. So this is the 6th one, and you have to do all of these in order. On other challenges, you can skip around. You know, try to do task 9, come down to 13 if that one looks easy for you. This one you have to go completely in order. And this is the only challenge like that. Alright. So this is 7. This here is task 8. And I think task 9 is the freebie if you have Task Assistant turned on. This is the one that gives you the answer. Alright. So I think after that one, this is where shit starts to get a little complicated. So if you can look at the solutions for these, yeah, there's a lot of trial and error that goes into all of this. It was definitely days, I don't know if it was multiple weeks that I've spent on this. And I know so many others have gotten stuck on this. And yeah, originally I didn't want to go through this just to protect the integrity of the game, but with so many people having issues with this, I think it's won't be the worst thing in the world if there's just a little bit of a cheat sheet in the form of a stream. So that's what this will be here. But again, I do want to protect the integrity of the game, so towards the end, I'll have to make a bit of a decision where I want to stop. And this is the final one. Okay. So I'm just going to leave this here for about a minute or so, just in case you want to, pause the video and take a look at all of these. Okay. So from there, we can move forward into direction. Okay. So this, if I remember, idiot. Okay. I think this will just open a new or at least I thought so. Here, let's move this to challenge 14. Oh, no, it did. It just brought it here. Sorry. Ah, okay. This is what we're looking for. Okay, so if we want to look at each of these, a lot of these don't have anything in them, and you'll see that there are numbers as files in some of these directories. And if you type tree, you can get a simpler view of this. And I think if we look at this, to remove a directory, we have an option of removing empty directories. I think if we zero deleted, what if we just do is it because we're in here? go back one. There we go. Okay. So we got rid of all the empty directories. Sorry about that, it's been a while, so I'm trying to get back into this myself. Alright, so from here, it's basically just going in order and looking at the folder that these files are in. So for instance, number 1 is P, number 2 is N, 3 is R, and so forth. Alright. So 4 is W, 5 is 6, 6 is 3, 7 is D, 8 is M, 9 is M, 10 is F, 11 is R, 12 is G, 13 is 6, 14 is 4, 15, apparently I'm blind, T. Alright, 16 is B, 17 is O, and we have R, U, W, 6, 3, T, and 24 is the last one. So we have this string here, and I think this is base. Oh boy, okay, so I got this wrong. What did I get wrong? Apologies. Let me go through this again. Okay. And that's what we get. Alright, and that is that challenge. Nice and easy, although I made it difficult. Okay. So we can get rid of that. Alright. Permutations of white. So the target's too bright in some spots, too dark in others. Your mission is to eliminate the darkness and find the darkness within the white. I'm guessing. Alright. Well, let's open a new tab. Crack. Okay. So we have a user, Gaia. What is the password? Okay. So the first thought is to use Charon for this, but permutations of white, we do have a command called permutation. So permutations of, and what we're looking for is we have these files here. So I think, if I remember correctly, that's QP65. QP65. Okay, and this will give us basically every combination of those characters. So we basically just built ourselves a password file. So yeah, what do we have? Username, password, service. Okay. So we have Charon. User is Gaia. The password is in our file here. Okay, so this is going to be HTTP 12.12.8.8, and that's what we have as a password. Okay, so let's open a browser. Let's come to log in here. Alright, and this gives us, let's save that. Oh, yeah, okay. Son of a bitch. Alright, so this is a dead end. Okay, so what else do we have? We have uploads. Okay. So if we have uploads, is it the file first? It's the address first. Alright. So we'll upload. Let's get that ready. Oh, that's right. Let me just pick that off. First of all, what do I have in there now? 999. Let's make it 888. Transactions conflicted. Really? So it let me in, but it's conflicted. Okay. Let's try this again. On a different tab. Still conflicted. Okay. In that case, I'm just going to save that there. Let's restart the machine. Sometimes when you get transactions conflicted like that, you just need to reset the computer here. Alright, let's change this again. Let's do 5, 6, 7. And now we're here. Okay. So we have guest, you just wanted to look around. We also have our handy tool here that lets us escalate permissions, so we'll upload that as well. And now we'll come back, and now we have some more. You are reading this right now. Yep, sure am. So if we come back, now we have this. Okay, so this is permutations of white. Yeah, stego image. And there we go. There's our flag. What's the user's password? Aw, shit. Well, we could just go ahead and do that again, I guess. Guess that's what happens when you don't pay attention. Alright. So what is it? It's just going to be... Okay. I'm just going to do something like this. Yeah. Okay. Since we're in this directory, we could just do that. Service HTTP. All right. Maybe we can pay attention next time. All right. So this is C#. Okay. Alright, so write a method that returns hello CHAQS. So we could just say return good. Okay, so we got arithmetic operators, basic assignment, variables, there's the different data types. Alright, so now it's my turn. Create an integer variable named x, store the result of 2 by 5 operation in variable, and return variable x. X equals times 5, return x. Okay. So we have arrays, indexes, all the glorious little makings of C#. Basically any programming language if you're into coding or software development. Alright, so we'll create a string array containing the elements chaos, Gaia, and Semiramis. Okay. So it wants us to stuff equals new, that's case sensitive, new string, and return stuff. Okay. Did it crash or? Nope, we finished it. Okay. Kind of scared me there for a second. Alright, so the next one is more C#. So we have a basic for statement that goes through the workings of that. There's a for each, while loop, do loop. Alright. So create a for loop that will run from 0 to 10, except 10. Assign the value of the loop variable to the element of the array, to the R array in the same sequence, and return. Okay. So this say for 0 I less than 10 because it's except 10, and increment I so we're just going to set it to itself, and this should say just return the array. Good. Okay, so that's how we get past that. It's not too bad. Just leave this here in case you guys want to look at that, just in case. Alright, so we have selection statements, the var keyword, conditional operators, jump statements, break, go to, continue, return. Ah, we have questions. Okay. Alright. Which loop definitely runs at least once? That is a do loop. If the if condition is true and the else if condition is also true, the else if block executes. No, it does not. Return. So this is going to get you a remainder equals 0. So the remainder would not be 0. That would just be false. Excuse me. So int x equals 0, return x plus plus. What is the return value? So we're incrementing x there, but we set it to 0. Return x plus plus, but it doesn't actually execute. That'll still be 0. Var x equals 10. Is that an integer or a string? It's in quotes, it's a string. Which jump statement cannot terminate the execution of the loop? Continue. Because it's going to continue. Okay. Hash me if you can. Oh boy, okay. This is a fun one. 26, 44, 94, 52. Too slow. Alright, so what this wants you to do is to decode this base 64 hash in the span of 2 seconds. So basically it wants you to copy this, come here, base 64, or no, we want to encode it, right? Encode it? Yeah, you have, okay. You'll get this result, copy this, paste it in here and say submit. But the only problem is you have to do all of that in the span of 2 seconds, which is impossible, clearly. So the real object of this challenge is to stop this timer. And the way you do that is disconnecting the internet. So disconnect. So now it's frozen. So now we can copy that, base64 encode this. Hurry up and reconnect, hurry up and click submit, and that's what we have. So that takes quite a long time to actually figure out, but once you know it, it's pretty simple. Alright. Dark side of the moon. Okay. So this I can remember is fun. Alright. So let's do our basic 42, 52, 93, 94. Let's see what we have to work with here. Okay.
Formula T.
Here, excuse me for a second here. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so we have our info here, so we have an uploads, we have a message. So let's come here, see what our message is. Message from who? Okay. Sorry, I gotta clean this stuff up. I think this was 14, wasn't it? Okay. So we have message from who? Yeah. Damn. So I think this is challenge 19. Was that the 16? That's alright, we'll just put it there anyway. I don't think it's going to be needed anymore. Alright. Well, that was pretty fast. Let's turn loop on. So, Amors. Challenge 19. Okay. Ah, a little bit romantic. Okay, I think I remember this. So if you click in here, you'll notice there's a lot of spaces in here. Alright, here's what we'll do. Just make sure there's no spaces. Sometimes when you create a file, there's already spaces in here, so just select all, get rid of everything, Control S to save it. And let's open this up. Make sure you copy this with the spaces included. And just save it as it is into a text file. Because in here we have a white space command. So it's just white space file. And this gives us a good old Mr. Robot reference here. So the Dark Army. DNS leak. Okay. So let's save that. We have a DNS leak. So how about we say start the onion service. And now let's see what we have. Okay. Recite the code. Alright. Okay. So let's stop that. So we do have an uploads that returned to us. So we could say upload. Well, before we get too far. Let me go ahead and change the port. 234. Okay. Go ahead and upload. Oh boy, here we go. Yeah. Damn. Okay. I don't know why this happens. It's a pain. Let's go ahead and restart. Alright, excuse me for one moment. Sorry about that. Okay, sorry about that. Alright. Okay, let's try this again. Oops. And we didn't have any results on this one, right? Yep, okay. So,
Formula T.
let's go ahead and open new tab. Let's go ahead and change our port again. 444. It's kind of a pain to have to do that every time, but unfortunately that just happens. Okay. Alright. Okay. So let's go ahead and escalate again. Now let's see what we have. Ah. And there's our flag. And if we open our browser, we gotta start our service once more. Okay, new user, dark, looks like 6G, but it's dark 69. Okay. Okay. So I'll just close that, close that. Don't forget your base. Okay. Firewall. Oh, okay. So this is basically where we get hacked. Okay. So anything you open is going to get closed. So there's 0255 recovery. So I think yep, even closes that. Widget library. A quick note. See if I can get there quick. Recovery. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Ooh. All right. Recovery. Alright, looks like things are a little bit back to normal. So, the main server still could not be recovered. Find the credentials of the HTTP, SSH, and FTP services. So this is basically another Charon challenge. Okay. So I think we want to go to share word list. Alright. Okay. So the unfortunate part is we're going to need username and password. But luckily, I think once you find the username, alright, so let's say we're on user equals so we'll say which one, so we have alright, don't think it'll be male or female because this is basically this world's version of anonymous, so names, top usernames. Let's try names. And password is let's try okay. Wow. Here, let's copy this. Nothing. Top usernames. Okay. So we have shadow. So that's the HTTP. So I think for FTP, it's just going to be random FTP passwords. Change this to FTP, and it'll still be the same. Yeah, okay. So luckily, it doesn't make you go too far. And SSH will be the same thing. Okay. I like the tour. Alright, so for this, and now we can actually SSH into Okay. So. If I remember correctly, I don't know if you could do anything with this. Because I know if you this just actually runs code. So if you actually execute this, this will get you there. But this, so there's a rot 47. So I don't know if no. So we can maybe go down that rabbit hole, and if you want to try this on your end. But getting past from here is really just executing this, and that's it. Okay, so this is, okay, SQL injection. So this is, I think, the 21st challenge. And shit starts getting really difficult from here. Alright. So basically what we're going to be doing here is manipulating URLs to try to perform SQL injections here. And you can read about the different types here. Luckily it gives you examples, and you can use these. So it's not just URLs, it's actually username and password fields that we'll be manipulating. And if you know anything about SQL Server or how you can actually manipulate, I'll try to show you here if I can explain it. I don't know if we're actually going to need that or not. So, like for the select statement here, trying to like inject, I mean I'm not an expert on this, but if I don't know, what would it be, just where the username is and the password is pass. basically what we're going to try to do is in the username column here. So this is a select statement bypass. So what we'll do is type in or what's this? 1 equals 1. Okay. So you basically have, you know, this is what's happening in the background, and what we're passing is for 1 equals 1. It's going to turn that statement into where the user equals 1 or 1 equals 1. 1 always equals 1. So it's basically just going to return everything as long as 1 equals 1. And that's why we're also including or, because I'm pretty sure there's not going to be a user named 1, but as long as 1 equals 1, it'll return whatever's in the background there. So that's how we were able to get past that. That's the best way I can explain it. I'm sure there's better ways to explain it. So yeah, and this hmm? Oh, does it want the hash? Oh, okay, it wants the hash. That's odd. Okay, so that's basically how these work. So for an input box, okay, we're looking for 1 or 1 equals 1. And it's basically the same concept. All we're doing is saying where 1 equals 1, and it'll return everything for you. And this can actually work on, I mean, most sites now are guarded against things like this, but SQL injection is always going to be relevant. Alright, non-input, non-string input box. Okay, so we have well, this one. Yeah, that. Hold on. So this will be 1 or 1 equals 1. Yep, okay. Alright, submit your answer for the or and clause. Or and. Yep, that'll be that. Or Okay. Okay, submit your answer for the URL injection. Alright, so this is the one where we actually mess with the URL, and this is probably a good idea, or a good time to, you can see the source code as well on these. So basically what we're going to try to do is submit an ID and a password with an injection payload in the actual URL. Alright, so what we're looking for here is, okay, so this is just a good time to talk about the different dashes. So there's just a regular dash if you hit, in between the 0 and equals key. But there's also an N dash and an M dash. So if you hold down the Alt key and type on the keypad 0150 and then let go of Alt, that'll be an N dash. And if you hold down Alt 0151 and let go of Alt, that's an M dash. So you can see they have different lengths, and these are used in different URL injections, and I'm sure they have a lot more capabilities than just that. I know, if I remember right, N dashes are used in used for dates to represent numerical ranges, and M dashes are used to replace commas, quote marks, question marks, stuff like that in text. Okay. And again, not an expert. If I got some of that wrong, I apologize, but that's just basically my basic understanding of it. So I think what we want here is, again, to include the ID, and we need to include a password. So after this, we want question mark ID equals, and this is where we'll do our injection. And our injection should be for 1 equals 1, and we have a regular dash, and I think we just need an N dash, which is holding Alt 0150. Space, and then another regular dash. So if we take that, and then we have password equals the exact same payload. I'm gonna copy that just in case. Oh shit, I forgot the, okay. Right when I hit enter, we need to include an AND. There we go. Okay. And so that one's fun. That one takes a little while to get used to and actually get it down right. Submit answer for blind, and this gives you a payload down here to use. Except this one is actually going to be typed in the password box instead. So I'm just going to type for 1 equals 1, and then 2 regular dashes. We'll put that in the password. And that gives us our flag for that one. Okay, column truncation. Alright, so this one's fun too. So I think this game gives you a little bit of a break on this. Normally, what we're trying to do is inject a new admin password. So normally, the username would be admin, and the password would, normally if it's a secure password, it would look, I don't know, something like this. But what we're trying to do is register a new username. So normally, if you just type in a whole bunch of shit here, and a whole bunch of shit here, if you tried to register that, it'll actually register. But in real life, I'm sure there would be limits. So you would need to find whatever the limit is. And for whatever reason, it still holds the value in there from the last time. So all I did in here is just Control-A and backspace to make sure nothing's in here. So say the limit was 30. Whoops. So that's what? So there's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So you would want to go to whatever the limit is, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But in here, really all we need to do is say admin plus a space. And we could say the password is ABC123. And now in here, admin space ABC123. So really what we did is just inject a new administrator with an easy password that we can log in with. I could be wrong about the limit, but from what I've tried and worked with in the past with actual pen testing and stuff, I think limits have a lot to do with it. But this game, you can just add a space. Maybe it's that way IRL too, but I could just be mistaken as well. So again, not an expert, but yeah, that's just a basic understanding for that. And our final answer. Our final answer is, oh, SQL map. Okay. So we do have, so it's a pen testing tool for SQL injection vulnerability. So this has, it's pretty complex, but what we need to do for this is we can say SQL map, and I think it's the same IP for everything, right? It's always the same. Alright. Okay, so now we're inside shell, and now all we need to do is show the database, show the table. So we could say show databases. So we'll say use one. That's just use index here. So now we're using that. Show the tables. There's a flag. And we could say use one again. And now we could basically select all from flag And that is not it. Okay. Oh. Okay. Looks like we need to... That's it there. Okay. One little last curveball. You gotta use the rot command. Alright. So that is getting you past the SQL injection. So this will get you all the way to the good old EMAG challenge, and I think this is 22 out of 25. And this is where things are going to get a little weird because I don't know how far I want to go, again, to just kind of protect the integrity of the game. I don't want to just, you know, give a blueprint for anyone to just, you know, type in the answers and not actually have to do anything. So yeah, hopefully hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully it was a good journey through, especially through the RegEx. I know that was a big challenge for everyone. So yeah, I highly encourage everyone to try to get through these challenges alone, and you can use this video as a guide if you get stuck. So yeah, what are we at now? We're at about almost an hour and a half in. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and call it quits on this one. And yeah, maybe there'll be a part 3 coming, or maybe I'll just end it here. I don't know, to see what's going on. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. This is a great game. Again, there's 25 challenges. This gets you to challenge 22, and from here it just gets harder. So be prepared to put some time and effort into getting these. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment in this video, or if you go on the discussions board, I go by Nightmare, so if you leave a question in there, I usually try to check it at least once a day, because I just really like this game and I like helping people to get through stuff. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed, and yeah, best of luck getting through the rest. So, alright, I'm going to go ahead and go, and thank you again for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and have a great one.